And hello, everybody. Rick Snider's Washington live, talking Washington Commanders. Nobody's here yet, but so I say what they want me to say. Um, please like, share, subscribe, comment. You hit that thanks button down below for everything. Now the algorithm's happy, and whenever someone comes, we can do this. All right. Okay, so Mike's already here first, and Steve too. Hi, Mike. Steve. Okay, I knew that Steve told me. I know what Michael told me. Okay. All right, and I'm just getting set up here. You guys are ahead of me. Let's see. All right, Michael, you are now a moderator. Thanks. I think I did it right. All right. Hurry up, old man. Who said that? Oh, God, Matt said that already. So, Matt from Seasons of Discontent podcast, which I do with Matt, is on here to harass me. And if you want to see Seasons of Discontent podcast, it's 15 minutes. It's our longest show. We do them Monday and Thursdays. And sorry, as soon as you get done listening to this, you can go over to Seasons of Discontent and hear Matt badger me there more. All right. Now, see how I do it. All right. Steve said, I'm not as sure as I've ever been as disappointed by a preseason game as I was on Saturday. I don't know. It's a long list, man. But yeah, I think I'm going to downgrade my win forecast off of that one. I mean, Kansas City is really good. And, Jake Mahomes is really good. So you take it for that. But still, it showed a problem. Matt said episode 3 is posted right now on Rick Snider's Washington. That's right. You can read it here on YouTube or go over to the Twitter account, Rick Snider's Washington. Pedro, hey, how you doing? Glad to hear. Okay, Steve says, hi, Matt. Yeah, oh, great. Talking to Matt. Thanks. We were going to have Matt on sometimes too, but I don't know how to do that either. Matt does all the technical stuff for me. Now Matt's want to talk about it. Okay. All right. So great. Have fun with the show. I'll just have a drink. Are you ready? All right. For anybody that is looking for the new book, some of you are. So it's 100 Things Commanders fans should know and do before they die. I just heard from the publisher the other day. He said supply chain problems. Boy, I heard that before. But it is going to be out September 13th, and I'm going to have my website up soon, so you can order direct from me, and I can autograph it just like I like to autograph Matt's books. And that way you can get it directly, and I can make more money that way. I kind of like that. But September 13th when it's going to drop publicly, and because of supply chain problems, I won't get my books before then. But we'll talk about it closer to the event. Pedro, favorite players to interact with, past and present? A lot of great guys. I mean, I always say 98% of the team are good guys, and everybody's got a jerk in their office. I like Dan Turk a lot. He was just interesting. Passed away right after he finished playing. But, Sharp Adonis was really an interesting guy. The first Iranian player in the league on there. But there's a lot of guys that you can learn, like D'Angelo Hall. You can really learn football. Listen, Sexy Rexy could sit there and explain turnovers to you all day, and it was actually pretty interesting how it all worked out. So some of these guys are pretty cool, and some of them were fun. Dion, I love Dion. He was just full of bull, but it was still fun to listen to him. Let's see. Stu says, any decent defensive backs we could potentially sign? Nah, if you're any good, you're in a camp now. Unless maybe somebody cuts one loose. Like, Washington got probably a decent tight end today. They picked up off of waivers that I was surprised the Rams cut already. But you would luck out. The next 10 days, they might pick up somebody. Cuts are next week. They go down to 53. I think you can take back 18 now on the 16 or 18 on the practice squad. It's huge on this. So it's hardly anybody leaves by the time we get done with cuts. About 10 guys. So it's going to be interesting to see who they cut. I think, the starters are pretty clear cut, but the back of the roster's got a handful of spots that could go either way. So that's going to be really interesting to see them. Should be some cuts tomorrow. I think they're cutting 5 by tomorrow, and then down to 53 next week. Okay, let's see what else we have. Matt says he's making dinner. Well, great, Matt. I'm still hungry, so if you'd like to make something, that would be great. Just pass it through. And if you want to hit the thanks button, guys like Matt loves to hit the thanks button, where you can basically it's a tip jar for me, and helps me spend an hour or so with you. I kind of appreciate that. Michael Stahl says the defensive problems, the personnel or the scheme. There's a lot of good talent on this team. So what's the problem? Scheme. It just is. I have not been impressed by Jack Del Rio in his time here. Kind of surprises me. I had much higher hopes than what I've seen. Been on their heels too much. You never see them on their toes. They're always on their heels. And so I think it's that. And Kevin says, so they cut Del Rio? Nah, don't think so. But, after cutting that defensive line coach, I guess anything's possible on that. So I would say, Hank, he's definitely on the hot seat on there. And I could see something if they get off to a really bad start. I'm not anticipating that, but you never know. And, the owner's not around as much right now. I don't know if he'll come back for the regular season or if he's going to hang out in the med for the fall. But that guy tends to make things happen sometimes. So you never know. But in the old days, he would have had vanilla ice cream delivered, already to the Del Rio's desk for those of you longtime fans who remember such stuff on there. I noticed some of those videos I do every day. I had one recently that the Redskins jersey was the cheapest NFL jersey to buy by $20. I suspect that includes a lot of discounts on Washington football team and Redskins jerseys. Can't be the new stuff. That's not discounted. It's like $20 cheaper than anywhere else. David said, I don't see a lot of Del Rio's traditional type of play calls. Looks more like Ron's D in Carolina. That's an interesting thought on that. Might be. Steve asked, Kerrigan will be in D.C. a month at this rate. Wouldn't surprise me if Ryan ends up spending the season with the team as maybe an unpaid intern. One of those things. He doesn't need the money, and he wants to learn the biz, and they could use him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Kevin asked, can Wentz complete a pass for more than 20 yards? Well, he's got the arm for it. He's still working on the accuracy. He had a couple of spots last week that they could have done a little better with on that. I know all of y'all saw the Forbes rankings today where Washington is now worth $6.5 billion. I thought that was pretty interesting. They went up by a third in the past year. Now, all the craziness that's gone on in the last year involving the owner and accusations, which is what they are, and yet the team went up over $1 billion because TV contracts and all that. It's being pulled along by the league. Dan's not generating this money that the league is. Abe says, good to see Thomas practicing. Yeah, Logan Thomas came out to practice today. Did some running around. Says in some respects his numbers being tested were even better than last year. So we'll see. He would be a great addition. They also signed a couple tight ends or gained them different ways because they were down to nobody. Wolf was the last tight end available in that game Saturday, and he got hurt and put on IR today. So how crazy is that? Scott says, since we're talking defense, what do I think of Richie Pettibone? As a defensive coordinator, I thought Pettibone was great. He and Gibbs basically could go into halftime, flip the script, and beat you again the second half differently. And I always say if Pettibone and Gibbs switch locker rooms at halftime to the losing team, they could still win the game, And I haven't seen anybody really good at doing that in years. They were really good. Now, as a head coach, Richie didn't really care to be the head coach. He spent 1 year, got paid to stay out of the league for a couple more years, so he retired. He didn't really want to do it, but hey, the money's there, and why not? Matt wants to know if they go 6-10. Is Ron gone? That's a good one. That might be the number 6 for staying. Anything under? I'm not sure. He wants to move his win prediction to 7. Yeah, I know, man. The last 2 weeks, I'm thinking about 7 also. Well, we'll see what happens in Baltimore. But Baltimore's won 22 straight preseason games. And while I know that means nothing, to me, Lombardi always said winning is not a sometimes thing. It's an everyday thing. And there's nothing wrong with going 3-0 in the preseason. Conversely, I've seen 0-3 mean nothing and teams were all great. A lot of the good old Redskin teams had terrible preseason marks and then went on to have great years. So you never know. But I haven't seen a lot from the first team. That's what's bothered me so far. Kevin wants to know who's in bubble wrap on Saturday. Well, Rivera today said he had not decided about starters in the final game, which to me means they're going to play because in the past he didn't play them and he set it up front. So by saying that, I have a feeling he might make them, and they should. First team has done nothing to deserve the week off, on offense or defense, in my opinion. The Wubo, he's back. Is Robinson the RB1 against the Jags? Absolutely. I like this guy when I saw him in OTAs. Runs like a freight train through things. You see him running through, gaining extra yards, durable back. Larry Brown comes to mind on this. Maybe Stephen Davis, those type of punishing runners. I think he's going to be like that. Robert asked, the Norwell injury more significant than Ron is leading on? Yeah, I don't know personally, but let's just say this. Ron talks about injuries. We get to Norwell, he won't even tell us what the injury is, much less when he's coming back. What does that mean? To me, that means it's not good. To me, it means he might be out a long time. Think of last year, Curtis Samuel. Didn't want to talk about it, said he didn't have surgery, and he did. So Ron learned you can't lie about this stuff because we get paid to figure it out. So I just listening to everything Ron says, and I listen to everything he does say, either from there or on video. This is very out of character in a way, and he kind of smiled and just said, I don't have to tell you yet. Well, you told us about everybody else. So that, to me, is a big deal. Abe wants to know, first team has to play? Yep, I agree with you there, too. Norwell's not on a pup list yet. Yeah, I know. This is really baffling, Michael. I don't know why this is happening. It's a very strange thing. You know, it's okay to say if he's hurt and whatever. I mean, lots of players are hurt. So why are we holding back on this one? Don't know. And Trey Turner, I haven't seen him yet either. So this team at guard is really down. I saw a couple times last year they were down to like their 5th center. That was weird. I remember back in the 90s in a training camp, they were down 4 guards, which was really weird. This team just seems to have this happen. Matt wants to know, what would Jack Kent Cook say about the name Commanders? Well, by God, Jack would really hate it. He'd like Redskins. Commanders is a Navy word. That's just stupid. Something like that. That's my old Jack Kent Cook impression. And nobody hardly remembers what he sounds like, but it's spot on. I like the old man. He was a lot of fun, even though he'd yell at me all the time. Mike wonders if Rivera is just assuming Norwell and Turner already know the scheme. A little bit, but that doesn't make enough difference. And Matt's laughing at me. Thanks, Matt. Sheldon T, I'm definitely concerned the defense will be a disaster. Not sure if it's JDR, but he hasn't seemed to find the consistent issues. Yeah, I really worry about it more than I thought I would because they've got a little more, players here. I mean, Chase won't be back till midseason, but this isn't all about Chase. This is about the defensive line, and I suspect Ron wouldn't say it, but I think he's talking about Sweat. Not being in the right positions when they're running inside the pockets. Yeah, I mean, Mahomes did some really good plays, and that's why he's Mahomes. But you got to do better on there. Paul thinks JKC would hate Commanders too. Yeah. I was at JKC's grave last year, I guess it was now. And I did a video if you want to search there. And JKC just has this little simple bronze marker. You would have thought Jack would have like a temple. Or maybe FedEx is his temple. I don't know on there. Kevin wants to know how many running backs will be carrying on the 53? Probably 4 in the end. That's what I'm thinking that. Robert says that fedora and tan overcoat Jack would wear. The fedora is owned by Samu Qureshi now, who I've seen it. It's in his collection. Samu's collection's for sale for buku money. If you have a lot, if you hit it big on crypto and you want to buy it, let me know. But you better hit it big. Hank wants to know what's my take on Dax Milne. I think he does make the team. I think he could be the punt returner. Has good speed, just hasn't had quite the chance yet. Needs a little time to develop. Mike wants to know kick returner week 1. I think it's Gibson. Not that he did anything great in the game the other day, but they want to get Gibson more opportunities, but not necessarily at the prime running back spot. So kick returner is one of them, and they'll do some, passing plays to him, but then again, so does J.D. McKissick. So how does that all filter in? I'm not sure yet on there. So I think Matt's getting ready to hit the thanks button. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Matt's tighter than the mouse. But the thanks button down below, you see it somewhere there. It says fan or super fan or something. You can donate some money to my cause so that Rick can eat in his retirement. I'm not sure if this is my last season yet, but I have a feeling it might be. Might be time to go. Getting old. Well, we'll see. Maybe win the Super Bowl and I want to come back and watch again. Never know. Old sports writers don't die. They just fade away. Wentz playing at the Ravens. Asked IRL is dead. I don't even want to know what that means. Ron wouldn't say today. My guess is yes. Maybe a short appearance, maybe a couple series. But I think we're going to hear more about that Thursday, maybe Wednesday. Paul Green wants to know how long Jack Del Rio is going to coach the defense. Interesting. I'm not looking for an imminent firing, but I think this year might be it. And if it goes that long, we'll see. Start hanging 40 on this team again. You got to make changes because everybody's contract's getting a little shorter out there. So what else we got? All right. Robert said, I'd like to see some two-back sets and interchange personnel, says Robert. Yeah, I think you'll see some two-backs. I think they're going to expand the offense a lot more, but I think it's going to be more passing plays. Steve wants to know, I didn't know anyone was coaching the D. Well, yeah, they have a bunch of guys out there. I saw Jennifer King, the running backs coach. Maybe you saw the video at practice from last week that Robinson slipped on the wet grass. It was really wet and just fell right in front of her. And she, it was just a funny moment. I like Jennifer King, and I think she will probably be somebody's, mainest, running backs coach maybe next year. And they asked Ron about that, and Ron said that's the whole point. It's for your assistants to grow up and become head coaches and top assistants. So he's all for it. He's trying to support her. Michael said the more the offense controls the ball, the less the defense has to be on the field getting burned. Yeah, your best defense is a good offense, no doubt of that. And this defense has been giving up third downs like candy at Christmas, man. They gave up all 3 against Kansas City in that first drive. They gave up 3 the previous week to Carolina. You can't be doing this. Just can't. Give Wentz a grade so far on the preseason. A or F, asked Kevin. I would say B-. That sack that knocked him out of field goal range was his worst play. David asks, what happens if the first team plays the final preseason game and looks bad? Well, do they have time for a scrimmage in between that and, on Labor Day? No. But it's harder to gauge offense than defense. Defense schemed a little more this past week. I was surprised because they knew they were facing a really good quarterback, and so they had a chance to get some first week stuff in. And there's no secrets anyway. But offense tends to hold back a lot more. You won't see some of these plays that Gibson's going to run in week 3 or 4. Not seeing them in the preseason, stuff like that. So I don't expect them to do a whole lot in this game either. I like that there's a week in between games, though. Really helps just kind of reset everything. Paul says, do I think they're going to trade Gibson for the season starts? I doubt it. You got to have somebody who wants them for starters. And as long as nobody's lost a prime running back to injury, they won't trade for him. So I doubt we see any of that. Could you see it in September if somebody has injuries badly? Yeah, sure. Heineke's another one. If somebody were to lose their quarterback this week, maybe you trade for him. But otherwise, there are a lot of trades of consequential players. I remember Jim Lachey came here in August. I forget when exactly, but he came from the Raiders for Jay Schrader. That was a big one. Big one. He just been traded from San Diego to LA like a week before. So it does happen. So who blew it on the Howe interception, the quarterback or the receiver? Asked Steve. Good question. Nobody asked that today. I'd be interested to know that too. We might hear about it Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe. Sheldon T. We've had enough injuries on offense. I wouldn't play the starters last game. Well, you can put them in a bubble, and you won't regret it in a way. But I would. But I don't get to coach anymore. Matthew says, I like and follow all your videos. Well, thank you, Matthew. But why do you never say anything negative about the franchise or ownership? You must not be watching all of my videos. And Snyder's destroyed this once great franchise. Listen, I was Dan Snyder's #1 enemy in his first few years when I worked at the Washington Times. And it didn't go well at all. But I don't know. I kind of leave some of this stuff now for the legal writers and let them do it. As I finish out my career, I'll let them do it. What's the most surprising name that will be cut before the season? Asked the Wobo. Wentz. Nah, I'm kidding. It's like, I would be a surprise, would it? Well, they cut Jeff George 2 weeks into the season. Man, that was a big one, wasn't it? So, I don't know. Matthew says he lives in Miami. Well, there you go. I love Miami, especially in January. Awesome there. Lawrence says, why can't we get rid of Del Rio? Because he's under contract and they like him. Ron likes him. So, the past 2 years, Matthew's followed me. Yeah, Matthew, before that, I was much bitter. I'm an old man now, so just trying to stay near the fire and stay warm. And I leave the fighting to most of the younger guys. Unless you poke the bear. You poke the bear, you're going to get it. But I've been doing this for 44 years. Had my share of a lot of tense days out there. Just trying to stay alive. Had a major health scare this year. I'm okay. But fighting's for the young men now. So I know that makes me seem less than whatever. I did my share. Lauren says, I remember when I used to deliver the Washington Star. Yeah, me too. I was there when I wouldn't work for when it closed. I was my final year of college when the Star closed. And I thought, oh boy, it's going to be hard to find a job here as a daily newspaper guy. But I did end up at the Times, which opened a year later. I got there a little later. So I worked at the Washington Times for 20 years, worked at the Washington Examiner for 8, the Washington Post for, I think around 8 or 7. I lose track. And I've been working at 106.7 The Fan for about 9 now, writing a column for them. So if you like Odyssey.com, 106.7 The Fan, you can do it. Matthew says, I grew up in the Joe Theismann years. Yeah, okay. So we're roughly the same age. You're old, dude. Paul Green, what's the best place to eat in Georgetown? Depends on what you want to eat. I always gravitate toward Italian. And Filomena's, Filomeana, is by the canal at Wisconsin Avenue and M. Best authentic Italian you'll ever eat there. I do like Pizza Paradiso. It's pretty good for gourmet kind of pizzas. Martin's Tavern's really good for American fare, a lot of beer. It's where John F. Kennedy proposed to Jackie. That's just up the street on Wisconsin Avenue. A lot of good places there. And they change a lot, too. Okay, Sheldon says, Gibson may look better as a versatile player than he was in college. I would agree with that. And that's what they're trying to do, is find some different roles for him. He was never really meant to be a prime running back. It's not really what he is. Oh, Matthew, you're only 50, punk. All right. The Little Tavern. Yeah, I remember the Little Tavern. You could order like 12 hamburgers, but they were all like this big. They're like bite size kind of things, big bite size. That's like first time I ever went to White Castle, and I was in Louisville covering the Derby. People in front of me are ordering like 20 hamburgers. I'm like, my God, what are these people doing? And then when I ordered 2, and the guy said, you want 2? And I was like, yeah, how many burgers can you eat? Well, when they brought them, I was like, okay, I understand. Go get me more. Do I remember Murphy's Barbecue? The name's familiar. Ask Michael. I probably do, but I can't remember it offhand. Lawrence remembers Little Tavern. Yeah, Little Tavern was great. They had one in College Park. I had more. The building is still in Georgetown, that one. It's so distinctive, you can spot them. Matthew started watching the Skins at age 6. I started at 9 myself. My dad thought football was stupid. He liked baseball. So I always laugh at my father's been gone a long time. He would probably laugh at what my career became on that. So why don't you cover Nats? Let's see. Paul says, will they try and bring back Collins? I don't think so. If they were going to do that, I think they would have already done it. Unless an injury happens, maybe. Matthew's disgusted. Yeah, how do you feel, man? Marvin Gomes, are you going to be at the Baltimore game? No, I am not. I don't travel as much anymore. I mean, I've been to Baltimore enough times in my life. But I watch it on TV. I do watch everything that way. Let's see. Lawrence asked, didn't they have a little tavern on Georgia Avenue? Probably. They have one everywhere. Gregory, I think Gibson's reduced role is overrated since the season starts. Robinson will probably start, and Gibson will get an equal amount. I would say no. I think Gibson gets more touches, but Gibson's not going to be abandoned. But Robinson will have more touches. I'm sorry, Robinson. Matthew says, hi, how you doing? Different Matthew. And another Matthew says, what's happened to this franchise? Yeah, man, the guy's bought it for $800 million. He's made it worth $6.5 billion, and none of it's because of him. Let's be honest. And the beer is $14 or $16 now. If you do it per ounce, it's common. Somebody did the math. It's the same as what the Ravens charge for much smaller beers per ounce. So I don't know. If you don't want to pay that money for a beer, don't drink a beer. You don't have to. You don't have to, I don't get the deal about turning blackout drunk during games. And I know a lot of the crowd is really drunk. How much do I like Howard? Matthew Owen asked. I love the pick. Love the pick too. I hope he's a starter for this team. If not, I don't think this year, but within 2 or 3 years. Steve, do they drag Logan Paulson off the sidelines? Man, don't make me say that name again. I'll start saying it instead of Logan Thomas. But no. Marvin, what section do I sit at FedEx? Well, I'm in the press box, which is mid-level right above where the Washington players tunnel is. So we're stuck in a corner. I cover the team. So we don't sit in the stands. I've only sat in the stands at FedEx once on there. And I had good seats, paid for them like everybody else. Do I think Patterson will make the roster, asked Lawrence? My guess is no. I think he'll get just trimmed out. It's too bad, but we'll see. Matt loves hearing my stories about Cook. Yeah, we could go all day about that. Maybe I'll do a live chat one time. We'll talk with Cook. By God, what do you do? We do Andy Poland live chats now and then. I mean, you guys have seen my Andy Poland videos. Hi, everybody, I'm back. Andy. Because the joke is everybody says I look like Andy with the red hat. We have the same. But Andy's fatter than me now. I lost weight. But I do Andy now and then. We have fun with him. Hey, looking forward to Danny Boy no longer owning the team. One day. I don't know when. Matthew wants to know a story about his wife. I assume you're talking about Cook's wife, Marlena. Well, we've all heard the stories about how she would drive down Wisconsin Avenue in Georgetown with her boyfriend on the car hood, and the cops pulled him over and said, what is going on here? And Marlena got mad and took off her shoe and hit the cop with it, and the cop then arrested her because it's like, okay, you can't hit me on there. Let's see, Paul said, am I having second thoughts of Wentz? No, because I think he's the best one they could get. I'm not saying that Heineke's looked good in the preseason, but they're going to give Wentz every chance to play. Lawrence wants to know, I actually commanded the grand opening ceremony at FedEx. All right, we'll have to figure out who you are. With the chef hat on at Halloween. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, I do have that. Somebody's message being held for review. Good. I got a moderator watching you punks now. Because we had guys last week writing really nasty things. So thank you, Michael, for taking that person out. Yeah, gotcha. Let's see. Sheldon says, Jamin looks better Saturday. Hope the light came on for him. Well, he talks a lot about it, and said things are, he's much more familiar with what's going on and such, but you still got to get better. And I've seen him make some plays and miss some plays, which is better than last year. Marvin, I'm going to the Ravens game. Are Ravens fans like Eagles fans? No, I don't think anybody's quite like Eagles fans, except, the old Oakland Raiders fans. That was insane. I haven't been to a Vegas game, but from what I can tell, the crowds, Vegas has a very heavy visitor fan. Because like last year, Washington fans went out there. You want to go on a road trip? Go on to Vegas, baby. And so does everybody else in the league go, yeah, why not? Go have some fun. 3 days of craziness. See the game. Washington actually won that game. But the old days of the Raiders in Oakland was one scary place. Scary, scary, scary place. So Philly may now be the most intimidating. And I would like to say Philly, if you mind your own business, you'd be okay. But that's not the truth. I've had friends attacked on these things. Your car. If you got DC plates, don't drive to the game. Marvin says, let's see. Paul's next. Was Jack Kent Cook tougher on the Redskins than the Lakers? I did not get to see that HBO series. I just wasn't interested. But I don't think he was tougher on the team. He'd be kind of tough on employees, but he's separated. Let the football people take care of football people. The business people, now he would jump on. But a different thing. You got to remember, these teams were worth like a quarter, $250 million, something like when the team sold for $800, it shocked everybody. So it was a different world. Now they're corporations, not football teams. The LA Kings you're talking about, Matthew. That I don't know much about his time with the Kings. Juliana, I love the name. If you own the team for a day, what changes would you make? I'd change them back to Redskins. How about that? Tell the NFL, sue me in court, and we'll talk to you later. That's what I'd do. Marvin, have you read the article on 167 saying that the Redskins fans are better with Bruce Allen? I think it was just a pondering joke. I didn't write that one personally. And no one agrees that they're better off with Bruce. No, or Vinny. No. So Juliana's praying. Thank you, Juliana. Appreciate it. Amen. Yeah, what else would I change? I would change the stupid parking fees. I'd change a lot of these kind of things. I just basically wouldn't listen. TV pays for everything. Why do you have to soak the fans for all their money too? How about showing appreciation for fans? Let's have a bobblehead day or something. There's a lot they could do for fans. Instead of just making them ATMs. The NFL franchise sale is sponsored by. Yeah, that's true. Who's going to be next? I don't know because Denver's done. I don't know. You'll see somebody go, man, especially for this price. Prices that they came out with today. The Cowboys are worth $8 billion. I mean, Jerry's not getting any younger. I don't know that he leaves this to his kids. I don't know. It's strange. Jack didn't leave the team to his son because he wanted the money to go to endow college scholarships. So if you have a kid going to college, check out the Jack Kent Cook Foundation. It's online. They give away a lot of money because they took that $700 million or so profit. And they have to give away 5% by law every year. And they've had to expand to give all that money away. And they do donate a lot of money to scholarships and for grad schools too. So, go for it. Just look it up. Let's see. What's the take on Doc during the TV games by Paul? I love Doc. Doc's a warrior, man. I mean, he said some really insightful things. And occasionally you're like, Doc. But Doc doesn't play, man. Doc's ready to knock you out. He and Brian Mitchell, man, I love them. They're warriors. Yeah. You give me guys like Doc and Brian, forget the Super Bowl. I'll go own another country with them as my generals. Michael said, Jack really stuck it to us. Well, it was never intended to go to John since they want to do that money that way. And you can't control. Listen, Milstein would have had a shot at it, but he didn't want to spend his real money on it. He thought he could buy it on credit. And Dan Snyder was smart. He pivoted that deal at the last minute. Otherwise, Fred Smith of FedEx would have ended up owning the team. If it went back into the open market, Fred Smith was going to go $1 billion. I would say to Fred Smith, why didn't you do it at the time? You blew your chance on there. He did become a minority owner for a while and then sold out this past year. Silly Goose. Oh, I like that. Will Jay-Z in the Super Bowl halftime show ever allow a rock band to be featured again? Yeah, they will. And I give the NFL owners credit. They've loosened up a lot. The early years, it was always very safe, conservative things. And most of these owners were older guys. So, they're the Pat Boone generation. And this new stuff was like, what? But, yeah, I think they're going to press the envelope for getting more and more big names. Who doesn't want to do it? You make a lot of money as an artist. Do I think the next game will be around Landover? Asked Marvin. Yeah, I think so far. I mean, unless they change owners, then maybe DC or Virginia jump back in. So we'll see. Kevin says, why isn't Fred Smith on the live games? I don't know. Fred can talk, man. He can talk the ears off a donkey. I mean, I like Fred. Funny guy, always having fun. Can't always understand him. Sometimes when he first came, he talked about the cones on the field. He goes, the cones. And I'm going, the cones, like orange cones, traffic cones? No, he's saying corners, cones. I always used to laugh at that. Michael wants to blame Janet Jackson for that. Yeah, that made him retrench for even longer. Will London make it to the Hall of Fame? Asked Paul. I say no. He's got great stats. Played for multiple teams. I think that hurts you a little bit versus playing at one place for longer. But it's not impossible. But like Dion, how many teams did Dion play for? But then it's hard to get your base there. Silly Goose wants to blame Pete Townsend's nipple. I have never seen that one, so let me know what happens. But I have a moderator, so you can't send in the picture and all that. So, all right. Well, we're halfway through the show already. All right. Brought to you by hit the thanks button. I always appreciate the gestures because pandemic took away 80% of my business, and I hang on to do this just to do it because it ain't for the money. Trust me. I'm pretty much a senior pensioner now, I guess you could say. That's why I'm wondering if it's my last season or not. Okay. Grandizer wants to know how my day's going. It went pretty well. I took a nap at one point. And Lawrence said, glad my health is better. Thank you. Yeah, I was on some of you don't know, in January, I suddenly got hit. My whole right side went numb. I'm on the ground thinking this could be it. And I thought I was having a stroke, and they did too. And after many, many, many times, they finally figured out that 2 discs in my back had nerve problems and caused it. It doesn't bother me on a daily basis. It was kind of weird. I don't know what happened that day. But so it's just that. And they leave me alone for now unless it bothers me again. So when you think you almost had a stroke and you got big problems and you just say, no, it's your back. That's a good day, man. Good day on all of that. So if you have problems, and I've been through open heart. Matter of fact, I was at Redskin Park when I had my heart attack. 20th anniversary is September 4th. This is how I covered this team this long, And I was at the park, and luckily the trainer saved my life, and ended up having open heart and all that. And they said, open heart's good for 20 years. But then the doctor told me, no, they just say that. They don't really know. It depends on how you treat your health. But if you have health problems, let me just tell you, think of a time when things will be better and work toward that goal, and it will get better. If you give up, it's not. So I just keep fighting my way back. And I've always been a newspaper guy since I was 12 years old, working for the school paper. I love this business. That's why I stay in it for as long as I have. But that's why I switched to YouTube to make a little money. And like I said, the hit thanks button helps on that. Grandizer, the radio guy I told you about, Bob Kemp, had a stroke on the radio there. He's back after about 4 months. Yeah, I mean, strokes are serious stuff, man. I thought I was going to be crippled by that. It was very sobering. That's why I've lost 35, 40 pounds. Silly Goose says Chris Russell's lost a lot of weight. Yeah, Chris works at it. Some of us are just meant to be big, but you don't have to be so big. And so we do try to work on it. This week, I think I know I shouldn't. And now I'm going to say this. Papa John's is coming out with 3 crustless types of pizza, and I am going to try them this week online. So you'll see me do videos on them. They don't have a crust; it's just toppings and sauce in a bowl, which kind of sounds like spaghetti without noodles. I can't imagine this is going to go right, but I'm going to try it just for you guys, not for me. I wouldn't care, but for you guys. Okay, what's Alex Smith up to? Ask Kevin. Living the sweet life, man. He's just enjoying retirement and all. Let's see. Leo said, where are you hanging out week 1? Would love to shake your hand. Well, the virus, man. I guess, are we shaking hands again? I don't do it too much. Now we nuck it. But I don't know. Reach out the week before because I might go down to the Hall of Fame store and meet some people, which is on the main concourse. We might do it then. Paul said he had heart surgery in 2020 after a heart attack. Yeah, Paul, so you know what I'm talking about. But you can get better. You just have to make some changes in your life, maybe take some meds. And they got great stuff now. My father died of a heart attack in 1989. And I think if he had it today, he'd have lived. But unfortunately, I didn't have those kind of things back then. So I lost a family member to cancer last week before. Time comes for all of us, which is why I'm trying to think about an exit from the biz, not the life. Because I'm building a nice big retirement home for us. We're going to move in a couple months. I'm still in the Washington area, though. Sheldon T says, crustless pizza in a bowl. Is that a soup? No, it's going to be thicker than that. It's going to be interesting to see. I say it doesn't make it. Silly Goose wants to know what bad things Larry Michaels doing that got him fired. Well, the allegations were that he treated the women staffers poorly. And I never personally saw it, but there was a lot of allegations about it. So he retired suddenly. Okay. Leo says he's in business. Shake hands. I mean, I carry sanitizer with me, too. I just don't want to get COVID. All right. Bob Broccoli. I'm not going to say broccoli. Hello, Commanders. Let's go, Riverboat Ron. Let's go lunch. All right, there you go. I mean, you should be happy with your team. I know they're not always playing well, and who isn't happy when you're winning? But if it's your team, it's your team. I mean, I'm not happy with the Nationals right now. I look at the lineup and go, what is going on? Patrick Corbin is 4-17, but I still watch them because baseball, that's my team. So you should be happy with this. This is supposed to be fun. So let's try and be fun here. All right, Granddaughter, no bots. I'm not sure. I think Michael's moderating for me. Maybe he's been keeping them out on there. That's what I hope. You might have seen my video last week where I did OnlyFans video. And when I first heard of OnlyFans, I thought it was sports. So I went to the site and they said, if you want to create one, don't wear a shirt, all that. And I thought, all right. So I started my video without a shirt on and not that far. You weirdos. And then I found out, it's a porn site. But it was true. I didn't know that going into it. RG3 on the potential of the offense. Do you respect his opinion? Asked the Wobo. Not really, because Robert has a lot of agendas on things. So I'll let Robert go be Robert, not worry about what he says. He certainly knows what he's talking about. He played ball. And if he hadn't been hurt, he would have been good. So Leo D says the fact that Dan got the gambling license after reviewed his finances, yeah, pretty much. I mean, they didn't see anything that knocked it out, I guess. But listen, things about Dan Snyder have been allegations, so you may believe him, you may not, but in a court of law, he's not been found guilty of anything. Let's see, Lawrence, I'll be happy when we get a new defensive coordinator or go back to man coverage. I think man coverage is the key. I think they have enough guys to play man coverage. What do I think of Washington's draft plans for next year? Ask non-revisionist. Man, it depends on who's coaching. Let's just start with that. And you really won't know this till January. But what are they out there? Look, they have scouts out in the fall every year looking, guys like Marty Herney. I think they're just looking at the top teams in the best positions. But I'm sure they're looking a little at quarterback. You always do. They're going to have a high draft pick, maybe. Maybe not. You just look for good players right now. First thing they ask for your shirt, and then they ask for your pants. Yeah, I know, Grandizer. See, that's why I have to be careful. If you see my open heart scar, you'll turn off the show. Would Joe Jacoby ever get into the Hall of Fame? Ask Hank. Yes, I think Joe will be in the Hall of Fame, but I think it's probably a few more years away. Tay wants to know, am I related to Dan Snyder? No, actually, Dan spells it S-N-Y-D-E-R. I spell it with an I. Find that funny because Y is more common. You think with being a billionaire, he spells his name right, but no, we're not related. The court of public opinion is ruining this franchise, not the court of law, says Michael. All right, that made my head hurt. Whatever. Steve Moody, any stories about Dave Butts? The dude was solid for a long time. Dave Butts used to love to carve duck decoys. I think he still does, out of wood. I saw him in his locker sometimes. Dave Butts was humongous. And after his career ended, he lost so much weight. When I saw him the next time, a few years later, I didn't recognize Dave. I mean, he lost a lot of weight. But the duck things, he actually is well known for his duck decoys. And I guess you Google him, you probably can buy one. Let's see. Grandizer. You already mentioned the Commanders' trade rumors. There hadn't really been much, though, there. And Bob wants to know, who will wear the green dot on defense? Probably the linebacker. Probably Holcomb. Is Dan going to be in the box opening day? Asked Paul. Have not heard. I asked about. I know he wasn't there for the preseason game, and no one has said anything about this yet. Legendary Hog Jeff Bostic, Hall of Fame. Asked Soul? No. Nice player, but no. Jake one would love to overreact to preseason games. People love to do it. Well, you act to what's in front of you. You react to that. So it hadn't been good. So that's why people have been reacting upset. But in the end, these games don't count. So, like I said, I saw many of Joe Gibbs' teams stink in the preseason and come out like a lion and roar. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And Baltimore really loves winning these games. I can't imagine Baltimore not winning this game, because especially since Washington doesn't really care. All right. So what else we got? You guys only last about 15 minutes on average. So I can say it again. The 100 Things Washington Commanders should know and do before you die. We'll have a commander's hat, the commander's name. I revised the book thanks to the publisher asking me. 5 new chapters in there, 5 old ones out, updated. Only sold like 6,000 copies before, so some of you haven't bought it. I'll have my website up before September 13th when it comes out. Okay. McBruno, 72. I know his cousin, 71. Anyway, Coach Centric doesn't seem to be moving with the franchise forward. I kind of starting to think a little bit about this too. That, Ron's got him from bad to good, but I don't know that he'll get him from good to great. There's a big difference. We'll see. We'll see what this year does. Bob, would I start a franchise with Herbert or Allen or Mahomes? Well, you take Herbert because he's youngest. And I often think if they didn't take Chase and they took Herbert, how much better off would they be? And that's the truth. And maybe Chase comes back and is all pro this year and I change my mind. But right now, Herbert would have been the better choice. Derek likes how they're running the ball with a patched up line. Yeah, I thought they did well for, having a couple, deep guards in there. I thought they did well. Probably my best John Riggins story. Outside of things like the 22 hot dogs at Carlisle or, Loosen Up Sandy Baby and stuff like that. I mean, there's so many of them. I've met so many people who met Riggo, like even in a bar or something, and he would pour beer over their head when he heard them bad mouthing them, and then he'd buy them a beer. And but Riggo's a legendary guy, and he's everything you think. I just remember his legs were like tree trunks. That's where he got his power from. What does Doug Williams actually do? Asked Lawrence. I think he's a mentor on a lot of levels. You need somebody in the building with some experience, seen something in the past, can offer some advice. I think that's his biggest role. Matthew says, how are the Maryland Crabs? Posted a video the other day of, I had 3 that had nothing in them. It was just the shell, and we pulled out the shell, and there was no meat in them. How in the world is that possible? When they haven't been opened before. These things were alive, I assume. What in the world happened there? So overall, I was a little disappointed. They were kind of smaller than I would have liked to. But I bought them for the family. I had a family reunion, and everybody enjoyed them. So won't complain. I mean, it tasted good what I had, but just where do you find meatless shells? That was weird. Let's see. Why draft a franchise quarterback when it's better to draft a role player? Yeah, okay. Soul Punk said, concerned with Joey Sly. I noticed his kicks have had a low trajectory. Well, he had one blocked. We'll see what happens next. I'll give it a little more time before I'm worried about it. Who's on the hot seat more, Jack or Ron? Asked Paul. Jack, definitely. He goes before Ron. Bobby Burns, how much did a bushel crabs run you? Well, I didn't quite buy the bushel, but bushels run anywhere in Maryland, $300 to a little more. Depends on the size. Crabs, man, males, females, small, medium, large, extra large. You pay whatever you want to pay on that. Derek said, do I feel like this will be a big year for Sweat, like 15 sacks? I'd like to say that, but something tells me no. I just got a feeling you might get 8 or 10. I think John Allen's going to have the big year on the line, and maybe Deron Payne might be better inside than outside this year. Trey says he's a Saints fan, but love your content. Thanks, Tay. I love your city. I've been there sober. It's a great city sober, and man, you go on Bourbon Street. They sell you these things called grenades back then for $5. First sip makes your mouth go numb. No wonder girls gone wild or shot around there. Man, that's serious alcohol down there. McBruno, any thoughts Mel's Crab Truck in Calvert County. I've never been to that one. I'll have to look for that. Tasty, we will beat you this year. Yeah, well, you can try, and you may do it. Soul Punks, if Jack Del Rio goes, how good would the defense be with Chris Harris? That name's been coming up a lot lately. I don't think it's happening. I don't think it would change a whole lot there. Paul Green, best place to eat and watch the game other than Green Turtle. Green Turtle's great. I never go to bars to watch games because I'm either at them or I'm home working, watching them. So I leave that for other people out there to tell me who you like to go see. I can't imagine Buffalo Wild Wings or any of that, but whatever. Go with your buddies and have some fun wherever you go. Bob says Scott Turner and Wentz hitting it off. I think so far on that. I haven't heard anything bad. And, Scott's a good guy. Now I'm revisionist. What's the most underrated Washington, D.C. site for tourists? Because I am a tour guide. If you guys want to go on tour, hit me up on my website, Monumental Thoughts. You can reach out to me. Most underrated place. The National Cathedral is pretty awesome. Even if you're not, say, a religious person, beautiful site. That's a really cool one. I like that a lot. Teddy Roosevelt Island in between D.C. and Virginia is a really cool place to go visit. Michael asked, Cobb Island or Pope's Creek? Pope's Creek. I don't like the crab house as much over at Cobb Island. I have friends on Cobb Island. Love it. One of the best spots to watch the casino is live casinos, says Marvin. I believe you. Does Norv Turner hate Dan Snyder, silly goose? No, I wouldn't say that. And there's been a lot of years. It's been 22 years. I mean, if you really hated him, I think he would have gotten Scott not to come here. And Norv's around once in a while at practice. Derek Wickham, what do you think in 3 years can Quinn Ewers from Texas in a Commanders jersey? No idea there, dude. I just can't watch very much college ball. Don't have time. Who do you think will be captains? I think Wentz and Cole and Holcomb. Be my guesses. And I don't know, Way if they have a special teams captain. Soul Punks, who's the leader for kick and punt returner? So Gibson for kicks, and Gibson and my pick would be Dax Milne for punts. Who do you think Washington makes the playoffs this year? Yeah, if they stay healthy, yes, they make it as a wild card. If they don't stay healthy, no. And if they don't get off the 2-0, no. And that's not going to be an easy game against Jacksonville. I'll just say that. DC needs to renovate RFK. Asked McBruno. Well, it would have been nice, but that ain't happening. So, Robbie G says hi. Hey, Robbie G. Thanks for coming and watching. Looks like we have a few more people than normal. Every Monday, 8 to 9, we're doing this, 8 to 9 Eastern. Through the season, and playoffs. So that means we'll be here for the Super Bowl, right? And then we'll see what happens after that. See if you guys like doing it. See if some of you hit the thanks button for me and throw a couple bucks. I would appreciate it. I know it sounds crazy to ask this, but that's where we are in this business. Did I ring the bell yet? Asked Grandizer. Well, I have now, but I know you guys love the bell. It's just a real hotel bell I stole. No, I didn't steal it. I paid $5 for this. People say, "How is it expensive to start a website and install this stuff?" No, I started YouTube for $10. $5 for the bell and $5 for some markers on the board. That's all it costs me. Give till it hurts, says Grandizer. That's right. Give till it hurts. It hurts me, one or the other. Let's see. Bob says Greg Olson will announce the Super Bowl. Yeah. It's amazing how there's not a lot of really good announcers. And now that like Amazon and Apple and all them are grabbing people, there'll be even fewer good ones. There'll be more bad ones, I guess I should say, on there. Grandizer loves the bell. He had one at work. Yeah. Well, I like to ring it when you're there because it means you got to get off your butt and come to the counter and talk to them. My thoughts on Carson Wentz, asked Bazooka. I think he's, in the end, I give him a grade. He probably will be a B this season. Not an A, but a B is better than what they've had a lot of seasons. Predict the Saints records. 0-17. Sorry, I don't know. Don't know. Non-revisionist. Is Wentz going to be here for the long term? I'd say no. Just my guess. Soul Punks. What do you think of the depth at linebacker? There's depth at linebacker? So, yeah. I could see them doing a late camp ad on there. Let's see. McBruno. How about a stadium behind Union Station over the tracks? That area used to be called Swamp Doodle, and that is where an early baseball stadium was way back. Now that area is like Noma, they call it now, north of Massachusetts Avenue. Big booming area. It used to be nothing. Now it's really nice. But they used to have games over there on the other side of Union Station way back in the early 1900s. Paul says Dallas could start 0-2. They get the Bucks and the Bengals. All right. Yeah, that's certainly. I'll feel so bad for the Cowboys if they start 0-2. Nah. Is this the worst defense ever in Washington? Oh, God, no, Paul. It gets much worse than this. Terry, is Terry the GOAT already? No, not even close. But he's only played 3 years. Let's see. McBruno says they have the air rights. Yeah, I don't understand that. We all own air rights over our house. So the guy next to you can't build his house and then do like a curve over yours and put you in the shade. So that's why. But air rights only extend so much, and then so airplanes can fly over your house. It's a legal thing. I stole real estate for years, and we had to do all this nonsense. Anything about Samus Ray's making a practice squad? No. I mean, he's on the IR. They haven't done an injury settlement or anything, so that's in limbo right now. The Bazooka, did Dan Snyder ruin the franchise? Yeah. I don't think that's a big statement. Marvin says, do I think Logan Thomas is healthy? I think he will be. I'm not sure he's going to be ready opening day. He doesn't know. But I think he'll be healthy this season and give them some good things. Is Tom Brady on vacation with the Illuminati? I asked Silly Goose. Oh, you're such a silly goose. I'm surprised that hasn't come out. In my prime, if I was a beat writer on the Bucs, I'd have found out where he was. I'm surprised the guys there haven't. Do I think anything will come of Mary Jo White investigation? Asked Mojo Daddy Mystic. No, not really. I mean, I think we would have already known. Non-revisionist. Jamin, is he boom or bust? I think in the middle on the end. Oh, Robbie G kicked in a few bucks. I appreciate that. Have I seen the Cowboys punt returner? No, I have not. Reminds him of Brandon Banks. Brandon Banks still playing in the CFL. Thank you, Robbie G. More of you should be like Robbie G. Throw money at me. I was going to do that site with no shirt. I guess we could do that for a couple bucks. Will O'Connell be the fourth offensive coordinator former of Washington, get his team to Super Bowl? O'Connell's a smart dude. He reminds me so much of the Rams coach, McVay. Very much. Just a little older, but he reminded him a lot of him. So, yeah, I think he has something there. Update on the Orioles ownership deal. It's all in court, man, McBruno. That's going to be in court for years. I mean, there's the lawyers. So that's going to be in court for a while. Let's see. Only fans, Rick. Yeah, I'm sorry. To me, it makes more sense to call it fans only. But only fans was intended for artists and such to talk and be supported. And the porn industry grabbed it and took it over. And I had to look with one eye since I'm a married man for many years. But I was like, wow. Very different. There's another one. I don't know if it's still out there or not. It was called Red Zone. And Red Zone, I think .net was the coach's site. But redzone.com was a porn site. It was like, whoa. Yeah. Sitting in the press box, I remember we were going, hey, where is this? And we all looked at it, and it was press row. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? You try and live a clean life, guys. That's all I can tell you. Find yourself a good woman. Or if you're a woman out there, not too many women follow me, but if they did, I'd tell them to find themselves a good man. Michael says, Peter Angelos makes the learners look like good ownership. Yeah, you got that right. I mean, at least Lerner didn't do any harm till the end when they just didn't want to pay for anything and crash the team. Bob says, the NFL Plus seems interesting this year. I haven't seen it yet. Don't need to. So I'll be interested to see what everybody thinks. And the NFL figured out they can make the money themselves directly. That's always what it's always been about. Scott says, what happens to the franchise if 2022 is another disaster? Well, define disaster. If it's 7-10, I think stay the same. If it's 5-12, I think they make changes. Is Bryce Love in medical school now? Don't know, silly goose. Grandizer, I think OnlyFans got popular, especially after Backpage got shut down. Don't know anything about that one either. What's max price you'll pay for a jumbo crab? Like one jumbo crab? Um, because I see some now and then. Um, $10 maybe. Better be a good one though. But jumbo crabs as a dozen, they charge like $150 or something. I'd never pay that. I won't. I hate smalls. I only want to go mediums. Mediums are large. Life's too short to be picking crabs for nothing. What's my opinion on Deshaun Watson's suspension, Paul? I thought he got off easy. I thought it'd be a season. Paul, the best way to get to the Vietnam War Memorial from Waldorf? Well, you go up past 5, and then you make Suitland Parkway and go down to Independence, and you can park on Ohio Drive and walk if you can find a parking space. If you can't find a parking space, go over to Constitution and 22nd, I think it is. You usually can get a space there. It's not too far a walk. Any good gumbo places in DC? As Soul Punks? Not that I've ever seen. That would be great if they could. I gotta get back to eating. See, losing weight, I eat all this nothing stuff, and I don't get to eat all the good stuff anymore. I used to like, but then again, I was a bigger guy, so you gotta fight the battles you can fight. Is it hard to catch the game when you live at a market? Oh, okay, yeah, that's why I thought they were doing the dish, or you can get games directly. Should Washington go out to Robert Smith? I don't know. Half smoke or Italian sausage? Asked me Bruno. Italian sausage. Half smokes are okay. I grew up eating them, and I'd go out of town traveling, covering games, and I'd say I want a half smoke. And people look at me like I was nuts. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's one right there. And they go, oh, that's a sausage. Okay, whatever you call it. But I like Italian sausage a little more than half smokes. But I haven't had a hot dog almost a year since I had to change my diet on things. Yeah. So I miss hot dogs. I miss going to Costco for $1.50 and getting one. Silly Goose, could there be a Joe Gibbs statue on the future news site? I'm not sure because he didn't coach there. So not that that's a whole thing, but I could see a Joe Gibbs statue, certainly. I mean, who doesn't deserve one more than him? Which half of smoke, Michael? The inside half. Bazooka, I got you there. Bazooka, you're making me hungry. Yeah, aren't we all, man? Fred Linker. Are the DBs that bad in coverage, or is it the coaching? I think it's more the coaching. McBruno, Fishers or Dollies? Man, I actually had a little Dollies this year. I didn't have any Fishers. I was at both. Fishers. Yeah. That's another thing I had to more or less give up. Man, I keep giving up everything. The only thing I eat now is I eat a little pizza here and there, but that's pretty much it. Let's see. Paul says you can't find any good, healthy junk food. Yeah, let me know when you do. Well, we'll see. You got to look at the carbs and the fat. Sometimes you can find stuff. Let's see. Grandizer's jumping off. All right, man. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Tang wants to have I ever had any crawfish? When I was covering the Derby, a guy who owned Risen Star, named Louis, was from New Orleans and brought a huge amount of crayfish for us to all the media to eat. We had a big barbecue, or whatever you would call it, at Churchill Downs just for the media one time, and it was awesome. I'm not a big sucking the heads kind of guy, though. James wants Lido pizza. I like Lido's pizza. I used to like it more. Don't like it as much as how they make it today. What do I eat for breakfast? Asked Bazooka. Yogurt. Never ate yogurt till a few years ago. Now I eat it every day. It's good for you. And usually some kind of low-carb bread, or maybe eggs once in a while that are, not the real eggs. Give us your Mount Rushmore of all-time Skins players. Well, it's got to be Ball and Sonny and Riggo and Darryl. I didn't hesitate saying that. Silly Goose wants to know if Julie Donaldson is single. I have no idea. I have no idea about that. Let's see. Paul Green, are you going to Baltimore for the game? Nope. I just watch it on TV. I'm not on deadline for anybody. That's why I wouldn't go. I got home games. As we age, we have to give up a lot, says Robbie. Yeah, amen to that, man. And getting old's not for sissies. And I've been a diabetic about 35 years, and that makes you give up more and more and more. All right, we're closing down pretty soon. I did the hour. That went fast. Mojo Daddy, if we win the Super Bowl, does Theismann, back in 19, did Theismann make the Hall of Fame? I would say yes. 2 Super Bowl rings, yeah. I would think that would have done it. He had a good career. He won 84 games. So most of any Redskins quarterback ever. People give Joe a hard time, and they shouldn't on that. All right, so now we're done with this show. Go over to Seasons of Discontent, which is on YouTube, and you can see that there. And also my Twitter, Snide_remarks. So you can go watch that. We do 15 minutes twice a week. It's a little more extensive, not expensive. It's all free. And Tay, thanks for the heart. And I think that's about it. Everybody's starting to jump off. Okay. Steve says, ring the bell. You guys love the bell. I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thanks for coming. I'll see you again next Monday, 8 to 9. But the videos are out there all the time. See you guys. And thanks, Michael, for everything.